This is DIY-Mushroom-Tek with Chapter 2.3. This is the last step before we can harvest some homegrown mushrooms. Since this project is multilayered, I decided to take an unusual approach. I produced this video in a way that it can also be used as a printout. That means you can use it offline, or even use just print some single pages of it. All the design that are shown can also be downloaded. Hey. My name is Daniel, I am from Germany, and I will be your host. This process is easy. You only need a little bit of equipment. It is designed to be very robust and comfortable to perform. As usual, I have structured this lecture in 4 parts. First, I will give you the recipe. Second, I will go in detail into the process and the setup. Thirdly, I will perform the process in order to show you the handling. I will close with the bill of materials. Before we start, I did put a lot of work into this lecture series. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you want to consider to buy me a coffee? There is a serious reason why I ask. In life there is balance everywhere. Summer and winter, day and night, hot and cold, and so on. It's obviously natural that taking and giving is also a polarity that needs to be in balance. Only when there is balance can we, as humans, achieve harmony and genuine happiness. That means, if you take something for example from the internet, you should also give something back. Please check for yourself if your life is in balance. If you want, you can support me with a donation. That would be great. You could also support any other good project. Send someone a smile, leave somewhere a nice comment, or just be joyous and spread some love. Let us start with the recipe for sawdust spawn. The recipe is like a simple cake. I use 3 different buckets. With them I mix 0.5 liter of wheat bran together with 1 liter of oak pellets and 1.5 liter of water. Then you cook it for at least 2.5 hours. Okay, now we investigate the details of this process. In detail, these 6 steps will be performed. First, prepare your stuff. Second, shape your sawdust bag during upwelling. Third, cook your bags. Fourth, wait for cool down. Fifth, inoculate the bag with a mycelium grain jar. Sixth, wait for full takeover of the habitat by the mycelium. You will need 3 different cups. Then the process will be very fast. Take 1 liter oak pellets. Then take 0.5 liter of wheat bran. Pour 1.5 liter water over it. Shape the bag. Give it some time to absorb the water. The bag will swell up a bit. Here I did not do the mixing. Bag can still be used. Over inoculating, the whole bag will be needed anyway. This is an example of a good shaped bag. When folding, the filter patch should always be covered from both sides by the bag. This is. Load your pressure cooker with your batch of bags. The water level should never reach the bags. Cover the bags. They will swell up during the cooking. You do not want them to reach your safety valves. This could result in defective process. Safety always comes first. Cook it at 2 bar for 2.5 hours. You can also use an ordinary kitchen pressure cooker. It may take some more time. The advantage is, it will not get too hot. This batch of bags did not handle 3 bar too well. I sourced it from a different vendor. Higher pressure results in higher temperature. The bag melted and the sides adhered together. I had to toss the sawdust. Here you see a freshly cooked batch of sawdust. Please note that the bags are sealed due to the folding and tightening during cool down. The bags could be stored like this for a longer time. I never store sterilized the bags. This is something for commercial growers. Wear clean cloths. Use a FFP3 mask. Wear gloves and a cappy. Disinfect your ends with ethanol. This is the setup for inoculation. I will show you the procedure in a video. After inoculation, put on a rubber band and mark the date. Put it on a shelf and wait. Mark the calendar week on the shelf. In the first picture you see a bag that could be shaken. This would increase the colonization process. As I have enough time, I normally do not shake but let nature run its course. In the second picture you see a bag that pinned already. The antlers are growing towards the higher oxygen levels. This is natural. As the fruit body develops, it leaves the humus soil. Oxygen levels increase but water levels decrease. With the rubber band you maintain a natural balance. It also has advantages for a secondary use of the sawdust mycelium. The bag on the left is the youngest. On the right the oldest. You see how the antlers are growing toward the light and the higher oxygen levels. I rotate the bags 180 degree every week. There are two interesting things to point out. 1. If you do not take care of your bags, the mushroom will grow out of it. The antler will transform into a conch. The reason is that the oxygen level is very high once it is not in the bag anymore. You should not wait so long. The mushroom will release spores into your living area. Once they reach the top of the bag, they should be placed in a chamber with under pressure. 2. You can see that the rubber band helps the mycelium to regulate the water level. Some growers do not like this mushroom piss. I do like it. It did not lead to contamination in any case. For me it is a sign of a healthy bag. When I have old bags, I want to fruit for a second time, I will give it some water. Remember, the fungi breathes, eats, and drinks like us humans. Treat it kind, and it will thrive. I always document my activities. Red for agar. Green for grain. I use rye. Yellow for wood. I use oak. You can also track your gas usage and your cleaning cycles. As you noticed, I mostly cook oak. This can be quite easily explained. Agar to grain ratio is 1:4. Grain to wood ratio is 1:1. With one agar run, one can produce a large amount of agar petri dishes. When I go for grain, I can cook simultaneous 4 grain jars. As I can only fit 2 wood bags in my pressure cooker, I do have to cook most of the time sawdust bags. Here you see my grow tent. I placed them in when the antlers reached the top of the bag. Since then, they did continue to grow towards the light. Here you see a second picture of a sawdust bag continuing to grow in a controlled environment. Now I will show you the steps I perform for the inoculation of the sawdust. Here you see the bag 1 week later. The mycelium is growing nicely. No contamination. 11 days later, the bag is nearly completely colonized. Only on the bottom a little space is left. You can also see that the mycelium is transferring water from the bottom to the top. The second bag on the left shown a very slow rate of mycelium growth. I used very old grain spawn out of the fridge. The longer you store it, the lower the vitality of the mycelium. That is nearly it. We reached the last chapter. You will need the materials you have already seen during the process. Here is a checklist for you. The thicker the bags, the more stable they are. The price will also increase. I am currently trying to switch completely to jars, in order to get rid of the plastic waste. This sealing machine works great. Make sure that it is wide enough for your bags. My first one was not much wider than the bags. It was a pain in the bottom to operate it. Wheat bran is easy to source. It ensures that the mycelium can fully conquer its new habitat easily. Oak pellets are also quite easy to source. They are the main food for your mycelium. You want to have as much oak as possible. Bran is only for speed. Here you see my Ender 5. Manufacturing of one part of the casing just finished. Rubber bands. Brand does not matter. Wow. Time passed fast. We are at the end. You are already an experienced grower? What is your recipe? What are your tricks? Please share and help your fellow man. In the next chapter we will examine the fruiting process. That will be fun. Finally, we have a video that is all about the fruit body. Thank you for staying with me. I hope you learned something new. I wish you a good Auf Wiedersehen from Germany. Happy sawdusting.